Welcome to the 2020 New Testament Challenge. It's Tuesday, and today we begin the book of Acts. The book of Acts is an exciting book because it tells about the work of the Holy Spirit in people's lives. Now, this is the second book that Luke wrote. The first was the Gospel of Luke. Here, in his second book, he's outlining all that happened as the Holy Spirit moved in people's lives. Throughout the book of Acts, the disciples turned the world upside down, he says in 17:6. They had three things that they always mentioned: the fact that Jesus rose, that Jesus is ruling, and that Jesus is going to return. In the first 11 verses, Luke outlines what took place before the Holy Spirit came. First, he said that Jesus gave many convincing proofs. Then he told his disciples not to leave Jerusalem, but to wait for the Holy Spirit to come. For when the Holy Spirit comes, they will receive power. Power to be Jesus' witness in Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria, and to the very ends of the earth. Three different places. First, they're to be a witness right in their own home, in their own hometown, Jerusalem. Then they're supposed to be a witness wherever they go that's familiar, in Judea and Samaria. And then to the very ends of the earth, places far away. We're to be a witness at home, where it's familiar, where we usually travel, and then anywhere we go all around the world. We are to be a witness for God. Then, beginning in verse 12 through 26, Matthias is chosen. This was the only time and the last time the disciples used lots to make a decision. From this moment on, they relied upon the Holy Spirit. But when Matthias was chosen, this was the criteria: that whoever took Judas's place had to have been with them from the very beginning, from John's baptism until Jesus had ascended. This new disciple had to be someone that was a witness and had been with them throughout the entire ministry of Jesus. They cast lots and it fell to Matthias. Let me talk to you about Matthias for a few minutes. Why was Matthias chosen? He was faithful. When was he faithful? He was faithful first when he was not chosen. When all the people were following Jesus, Jesus picked 12 to be his disciples. Matthias wasn't chosen, but he didn't quit. He stayed right there and he continued to follow Jesus, even though he wasn't chosen as one of the 12. Some would say, well, that's just not fair. He was there from the very beginning. Why did he get excluded? He stayed with the ministry and he never left Jesus' side. Then he never left, even though he didn't understand everything. There was the time when Jesus told everyone that if they were really going to be his disciple, they had to eat his flesh and drink his blood. Many then said, this is a hard teaching. Who can accept it? And they started falling away. They left him. Jesus turned to his 12 disciples and he said, do you want to leave as well? And that's when Peter said, where will we go? You have the words of life. You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Matthias stayed there as well. He continued to follow, even though he didn't understand exactly what all that meant. And then when it was difficult, he didn't quit. Even though it was hard at different times, Matthias never left. He never quit. He persevered in his faithfulness in following Jesus. That's why he was one of those two that were going to take Judas's place. In 2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 9, this is what it says: the eyes of the Lord range throughout the earth to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to him. God is looking for people all the time whose hearts are fully committed to him. He found a man in Matthias. I pray that he finds you and I faithful as well, even when it's difficult, when we don't understand and we don't fully comprehend everything that's happening, and even when things seem unfair, we will be faithful just like Matthias. I hope that this has been an encouragement to you today. If so, would you do me a favor and hit the like button and also share it with others so they too might be encouraged? Thank you for joining the 2020 New Testament Challenge.